Hi there, this is Kelly Fasterling. I am a realtor with eXp Realty, and today I have Trish Giassa with me. Trish is an amazing agent who has sold over 1,000 homes, over $1 billion in volume. She was top 1% at Keller Williams, top 5% in the GSMLS. She founded her own boutique brokerage and then became a top producer at Remax when she moved to Colorado. So she's had an amazing history. Trish, thank you so much for joining us today and welcome.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for having me here. It's really exciting to be able to share a little bit about my journey with you. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, and your journey has been amazing, even starting before real estate. Talk to me a little bit. You're originally from Italy. Talk to me a little bit about that journey for you, because that's
Well,
unique.
speaking of journeys, when I was 10 years old, my parents and I took a ship. We're really literally off the boat, called it Christopher Columbus, from Trieste, Italy, to which very few people know about, but a beautiful city, to Hoboken, New Jersey. And that's where I grew up. There's really not a whole lot more to say about that. And then
How old were you at the time when you came to
10.
10. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then as you started then and launched into adulthood, did you start out in real estate or did you start somewhere else?
I started out in direct marketing.
Okay.
So living in Hoboken, which is like right across the Hudson River from Manhattan, that was a huge workplace and lots of opportunity. And I landed pretty early on in magazine publishing, magazines like Sesame Street Magazine, Games Magazine. And I did a lot of direct marketing for them. So if you're a parent and you received a solicitation to get Sesame Street Magazine for your kid, I had something to do with it. But it
Well,
was great. It was a great background because I learned about direct marketing, which is something that we do in real estate, right?
it is. And what pulled you then into real estate? Talk to me a little bit about your journey in real estate.
So about 4 or 5 years into the publishing and direct marketing career, I had an opportunity to move to Boulder, Colorado. And when I moved here, the workplace is not the same as it is in Manhattan. So I looked for something else to do. I interviewed a travel agent. I interviewed a realtor. And I said, I love to travel, but you kind of need money to travel and you don't make money in the travel business. Thank God I didn't do that. And so I got into real estate and I didn't know anybody. I didn't know Boulder. I didn't know anything about real estate. But I dove right in and it was great. I went to an all girls Catholic school back in Hoboken, and they always talked about vocation. Now they meant like becoming a nun, but to me, it's like finding the thing that really fills you and has you excited and happy to get up every morning.
Yes.
That's what real estate became for me.
Yes. Yes. And what about it became that fulfilling component of that drive for you, that want to help people? What became that for you?
Well, I like helping people. I think that it's a super fulfilling way to go about life. Um, the reward of finding the right home for somebody or helping somebody else get out of either a tough situation or empty nesters, for example, and doing it with grace and dignity and mindfulness is really key. And I found that very fulfilling. I like being my own boss. Granted, I had lots of bosses, and we get into real estate because it's so flexible. You can work 70 hours a week or 90 hours a week. That's flexibility when you're really selling a lot of real estate. So, but I love the challenges and the people. So every buyer and seller is different.
Yes.
Every home is pretty much different. Every situation is different. And there's lots of components like behind the scenes. We do hundreds of things that nobody even knows about. And, you know, a lot of people think, oh my God, that's such an easy job. Well, I'm glad you see it that way, because then we did our job right.
Yes.
Um, it's like, becoming a surgeon, that people know that's difficult, right? And it took a lot of training and a lot of resourcefulness to be able to be good at a surgery. Well, real estate is a little bit like that. And doing it right is filled with, field mines. There's all kinds of people you can't control that are part of your transaction. The appraiser, the inspector, the attorney, heck, even the zoning department, people you have absolutely no control over. And yet getting to that end goal is just, it's like putting that puzzle together. I love it.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, in your journey, you've had experience with multiple brokerages, from Keller to Remax to your own, to now to EXP. Talk to me about kind of each leg of that journey and why the transitions.
Okay. Well, I started at a very traditional broker. And back then, and this is 35 years ago, so it wasn't a lot of moves given the length of time. So the traditional brokerage was great. I'm still actually friends with my old broker. So I love my broker and I'm still friends with him, but I haven't been with him for 33 years. Very traditional, very much like he handed me a phone book and he said, call everybody with an Italian surname. I said, what do I say? He said, well, ask them if they are thinking of buying or selling a home or know somebody who is. I said, okay. And that's how I built. But not, probably a year and a half into it, I was invited to join a very exclusive office, a Remax office, Remax of Boulder here in Boulder. And at that point, there was no recruiting going on, but there was a bunch of guys and a few gals, and they wanted some fresh blood. And my girlfriend, Kathy, and I were it, and they invited us. And it was scary as hell because I went from like 60-40 to 100%, but I had a monthly bill.
Okay.
And I needed to know that I could pay that every single month. The bill was going to come due. It's like a mortgage. And that I would be able to do that, but then I would be keeping 100%. So it was a new model. It was the 80s, late 80s, right? It was a new model. It was very exciting. The group of people that I was with was amazing. All experienced at the time. Remax at that time would not take agents who weren't experienced, no newbies. So I learned a lot and flourished. Within about 4 years, really had an amazing business. And then one day my ex-husband came home and said, honey, I just quit my job. We're moving back to New Jersey. I was young. He was, special to me. I went. Back in Jersey, I decided to stay with real estate, and I focused on an area that wasn't my neighborhood, but I didn't want to sell in that neighborhood. And I did some research. Where was a market that had, good turnover, prices that were constantly steady and going up, not huge swings. I did research using the newspaper, but of all things. And I landed in Short Hills, New Jersey.
Okay.
And there I joined another Remax.
Okay.
And what I discovered is that not all Remaxes are the same. It was challenging. The leadership was not, it was like night and day from what the Remax was in Boulder. But I stuck with it until, I guess it was another 12, 13 years. So, just really worked my business, didn't worry about other stuff. But when they instituted a franchise fee, I said, enough of that. And that's when 9 of us left Remax and started our own brokerage.
Okay.
Town and Country Properties of Chatham, New Jersey. Fabulous. All 9 of us top producers. We hit the ground running. We had a cute little building, and we did very well. But I did not really love working with 8 other women. So I'll leave it at that. Great realtors, great ladies, but it was not the kind of environment where I would thrive. And so Keller Williams had just come to New Jersey, pretty much. And it was 2008. You know what kind of market that was.
Yes.
And I love the fact, again, a new model. There was a cap. I wasn't paying 6% forever. I wasn't paying, 10% forever, whatever it was, 20%. I was at 70-30 till I was capped at $35,000. And at the level of business that I was doing, that was a good deal. Yeah. And so I joined up.
Yeah.
And loved it. My business continued to flourish. I probably doubled it during the about 12 years I was at Keller Williams.
Okay.
I did Bold, I did MAPS coaching, career visioning, you name it. I bought into it and I learned so much. And I went to family reunion and mega camp and luxury masterminds. I did everything and loved it. Made great friends. In fact, what happened when I moved to Boulder in 2017, I had every expectation of staying with Keller Williams. But there wasn't a Keller Williams in this market. And actually, there had been some issues. So long story short, I saw that a friend of mine, another KW agent who I loved and respected out of Dallas, had gone to a company called EXP. And I said, boy, that's an unfortunate name. Why did she do that? I like her. I respect her. I admire her. She has a team. She does a lot of business. She's nice. Why did she do that? So I reached out and I said, so Sherry, what's up with EXP? And she showed me the model and I said, I'm in.
It was that simple.
There was like a couple of days in between that Jason, my husband and partner, said, I don't know. It sounds a little bit too good to be true. Does it, kind of like, is it an MLM? The numbers, do they really give you your cap back? All these things, right? He's a retired engineer. So he went into it 100%, trying to poke holes in it.
Right.
More impulsive. So he's a good counterbalance. And then he finally said to me, he said, I can't find anything other than, like we don't know too much about it. It's not that big yet, but it sounds like it's going to get bigger. So let's do it. Let's join up. And that's what we did.
So you've been at EXP now for how long?
Almost 5 years.
Okay. And over the course of 5 years, talk to me about what has been provided to you. And you've had some great history with some other brokerages. What's unique about EXP?
Well, there's a lot of things about EXP. I'll give you one quick story. So we joined up and our Colorado State meeting, which is the equivalent of an office meeting, right, was happening the following week. And the following week, we were going to be in Paris. And, usually if I'm on vacation, I don't want to go to the office or go to a meeting or anything. But in this case, it was our first EXP meeting. I was so excited. And back then we were only having them once a month. Now we have them twice a month. I didn't want to wait a whole month to go to the next one. So here we are in Paris. We were able to just log on into the world and go to the meeting from Paris. Like, that was so awesome. That was the first difference, that to be able to participate from anywhere in the world and be part of this community. And it's not, you're right there. It's amazing. The other thing I like is the model. I don't like overpaying. I looked back. Actually, Jason did. And we paid Keller Williams over, without without any growth in stock, right? With their cap over those 12 years, we paid them an extra $420,000.
Ouch.
Ouch. At the time it seemed like a good price to pay, but if I'd had another option, $420,000 do a lot.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. And sometimes we look at money and it's incremental and it's 20,000 here. Not to say that 20,000 isn't a lot, but if you look at 20,000 and look at it over 5 or 10 years, you're looking at $100,000 or $200,000. And if those numbers are bigger, it just becomes exponential. And time has a way of just going by. Like before I know it, 5 years is going to be gone, right?
Right.
And while money isn't the be all end all, it can help you take care of bills, your health, your family, your church, whatever it is, right? You can do so much more if you have the option of having the money to do it.
Yes. Yes.
So looking at that, I look at EXP as an opportunity to be able to do more for my family and for myself, for my community.
Yes, absolutely.
Instead of, making, I don't know, Realogy more rich, or Gary Keller. I love him. He's brilliant. He does an amazing job, but he's, I'd rather keep the money than give it to him, and so on and so forth.
Well, and EXP is more of a virtual model. You had been used to being in different office spaces. Talk to me about how that works, and does it work for you?
It does. First of all, I'll say that going to the office for me, and as a top producing agent, I don't really have time for chit chat, for rubbing shoulders, for hanging out. I have a busy day every day. So going to the office, getting dressed, getting in the car, driving there, parking, getting into, it would add, even when I lived only 2 miles away from my office, it would add 40 minutes to my day that I wasn't productive. Now, okay, maybe I didn't want to work. Maybe I wanted to go for a 40-minute walk instead, right? I could do that. Or I could spend that time doing lead generation or helping a family member or helping a friend. And 40 minutes times, let's say 5 days a week, that's like over 3 hours, right? Maybe almost 4. That's a lot of time. So I like being efficient about things. So I love not having to spend that time. But I think more importantly is that people have this thought that you don't have a community, that you're not connected. And I have to tell you, I'm more connected now than I have ever been in an office.
And how is that? How does that happen for you?
We have the tools. And now because of COVID, we're all used to doing this thing, right? On Zoom or in the world or whatever. And we get to choose who to connect with. You walk into the office and whoever's there's there. And let me tell you, your top producers are usually not there. And if they are, they're not giving you their secrets. They're not telling you the things you really would want to know in order to really succeed at a high level. So I found going to the office just kind of wasteful, not just the commuting time. I would go for meetings and things because that was great to be part of that. But it wasn't, it just wasn't the same. Now I have a choice of trainings from like 80 hours of training every week. Now, I don't recommend going to hours and hours and hours of training. I think you have to implement. But I can pick and choose my training instead of finding out that on Tuesday next week is going to be, seller objection discussion. And I have to drive to the office and be in a room at that time and only that time to learn how to handle seller objections if that's what I wanted to do. I can do it much more easily. And then, one of the other things is that we do have conferences and meet in-person meetings where we do get to meet with people, which is how we met Kelly.
Yes.
And I have to say, I have never in my career at Remax, at my own agency, at Keller Williams, found the people that I have found at EXP like you, who have been truly supportive and helpful. And the KW people were supportive. The Remax people were supportive. My partners were supportive. This is just a whole other level. It's hard to describe, but it's really heartwarming and fun. Yeah.
Well, and you were in a bit of a unique situation. The folks that had introduced you to EXP had had the luxury of being able to step back out of production, and because they had done so well inside this model. Talk about that a little bit, and then about how that impacted you.
Sure. Well, Sherry from Dallas was able to phase out of working in real estate full time to playing a lot of golf and spending time with her granddaughter and traveling. So, good for her. Really, she was getting ready to be at that point, and EXP gave her that opportunity financially to be able to do that. The reality is that most people don't want to work forever. I mean, there's a couple of people that still at 80 years old love going to the office and doing whatever. But honestly, as professionals, I'm not sure that we're quite with it enough that we should be doing that. And frankly, I don't want to be that person, right? I think that we all have worked. I've worked since I was 12 years old. So at this point, I'm looking at the other side and saying, my mom worked her entire life. At 65, they said bye-bye, and she retired, and she never looked back. It was like the next phase of her life where she could enjoy her family. She started gardening, cooking more, spending time with family, more travel, whatever it is that you love to do. And I'd love to travel, ski, hike. I'd like to take tennis back up, whatever. I'd like to do more of that and less of the work part. And I love my work, but I don't want to do it forever.
Right.
And honestly, I'm kind of tired of, working on weekends when everybody's playing and doing open houses and offers on a Saturday night at 8 p.m. and negotiating and constantly having this and not ever being off. It's time. And with EXP, we have the vehicle with which to retire and not be poor.
We do. And we've seen that in spades with different teams and different folks having the opportunity to create something bigger than themselves and now gift that back to this world in many, many ways. So it left you, though, a little bit orphaned, if we might call it that, because some of the folks that you work very closely with were no longer as engaged in the business.
Yeah. And to get back to that, thank you, Kelly. I did feel orphaned, and, literally I could have just picked myself up by my bootstraps, but I didn't have to. Because there were people there that as soon as they understood that I felt that way, they're like, no, we're one big family, one big fire, join us. And that has made such a difference in my work life that I can't even describe it. I have never been welcomed in the same way my entire life. Now, hopefully that's not the case with everybody, that nobody's had that kind of welcome before, but I think I've had some great relationships, and this is just at a whole different level.
Well, and you and I had met going into one of the conference meetings. It was a chance meeting of, I'm from Boulder, I'm from Colorado Springs. Oh, we're in the same state.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you? And it progressed to you really being adopted by the Freedom Team and all that the Freedom Team has to offer. So what has that done for you personally, for Jason, for your business?
So I'll start with business. It has given me the support and tools to continue to do what I'm doing and do it at a higher level. Like no guesswork. Here's a playbook. All the help that I could possibly want. For my life, I think it's going to make a huge impact because I will be able to achieve the goals that I've set faster and in a better way because I have support. You can get where you're going, but if you have somebody to walk alongside and help you when you're struggling or cheer you when you're winning, that makes a big, big difference. So having that is just so amazing and wonderful and exciting and satisfying. And then on a personal level, I've really appreciated the personal growth, that journey that I have embarked on with you, Kelly. It's just been a chance encounter is becoming one of the foundational people in my life that I appreciate and love so much. And so, it's like a miracle.
And I have found that over and over with you especially, but with many others, where as I'm open to receive, there are so many people in this community that
Absolutely
are there for us. It's been tremendous. Is there anything, Trish, that you would like to add and to share that we haven't covered?
I think I'd like to say that life is a journey, and that being open-minded to opportunities, to people, to EXP, right? It literally can change your life and your family's legacy and your world, whatever you choose that to be. And it's not just about the money, it's about the love, but the money doesn't hurt.
It gives us the resources to bless so many others. So.
Yes, well said.
Trish, thank you so much for sharing with us today, for sharing from your heart. You've been a true blessing in my life to have met you and then to have taken this journey together. It's been tremendous. So thank you for sharing today.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for having me here and for giving me the opportunity to share. And thank you for everything that you do and are, and the Freedom Group. I mean, it's amazing.
Bye-bye.
Bye.